Rodhe trip. He was there a little bit before me, and I came later. And when I came, we and I were roommates for about 3 weeks, and then we trained together there for about 5 months after that. And then he moved back to Pennsylvania. I ended up staying there for 5 more years, or so, 6 years. And I went on to compete at the world level, the Olympics, for Canada as a shot putter. Now, in my time training, I was able to come back to my alma mater, Mount Union College, now University of Mount Union in Ohio, for a few training camps right before the Olympic year. And in my time there, that's Sean Denard and Sean Donnelly were both at Mount Union College as students and athletes. And I had the pleasure of working with them a little bit for training camps while at Mount Union, and I also trained both of them a little bit online. And then a few years later, Dane Miller went on a quest to achieve a personal PR and compete at USA Indoors. And he asked me to help him. I trained him online a little bit as he went into that journey. And then Sean Donnelly obviously went on from Mount Union, competed at University of Minnesota, and is now a USA hammer thrower in Chula Vista. And Sean Denard and I was his coach, and then as I found myself at the end of my professional career needing another coach, I sought him out. He actually coached me a little bit for about a year through the end of my career. So, and then we've all started at different places, gone through the sport in a different way, and now we're all here. So it's just an interesting timeline. If you guys kind of understand where this information is coming from, how the presenters are connected. Okay, I have recycled a bit of this presentation from what I did for a bunch of high school coaches in Ohio last year. There's some added stuff with drill videos. I call this why only NASA can re-engineer the wheel, because when they went to the moon, they couldn't pack a regular tire. So they made a tire out of a mesh material that would support the rover in 1/6 gravity, but it wouldn't work on Earth because the mesh would collapse. Okay. They found a way to figure out how to go in a circle better. Throwers over the years have tried to do that. They ultimately failed, and they have come back to their original model of the wheel, the rotation. Okay, so throwers tried to re-engineer it, they couldn't. Okay, data by results. I looked at the 2018 data, and we're at like 22 even, I think. So we dropped a little bit on this chart. What this is this is the top 10 throwers in the world for men shot put over the years. This is their average. The average distance, the average season best for the top 10 throwers has gone up, 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 continually up. This is those top 10 throwers. This is the top 10 throws recorded in the year. Okay, so one thrower might have thrown 5 throws further than anybody else. He has 5 of those marks in his data. Okay, top 10 throws thrown that year. That has gone up as well. This is the number of throws comprising those top 10 throws. Who threw the furthest in those years? That has gone down. Okay, so these numbers tell you throwers are getting better, and the best throwers are getting more consistent. They're getting better results more of the time. How and why? Their technique. Okay, we'll go back to the very, very beginning. Alexander Baryshnikov, he was a USSR CCCP athlete. He was the very first person to ever rotate in competition. Okay, he was originally a glider. In this technique, we see bent legs almost the entire time. Okay, we see double support, grounded finish. He does not jump up, and his arms strike a long time through the front. Okay, long, long strike. Very flat entry. He doesn't go up and down on the entry. Everything's very, very around, around, around. Okay, so he was the very first person to ever do it. And then in his travels, Brian Oldfield saw some people rotating. He thought, oh, okay, I'm going to try it. So this is young Brian Oldfield giving his best effort at the rotation. And we see here that he is taking some liberties with jumping. Okay, so his finish, he looks like a high jumper, basketball player up here, but his entry, look at his entry. Very, very flat, very patient, pushing his right side around his left, okay? And then he gets up here and he does this. Now, he was a young buck and had lots of energy, and he could get away with this. Then Brian Oldfield later, okay, this is the end of his career. We see the same flat rotation, and he lifts at the end of his throw, but during the actual acceleration phase, you actually see he's on the ground a lot longer here. He gets his body rotated more at the finish before he lets himself pop up. Okay. So Baryshnikov rotated, Brian Oldfield rotated, and he did it really well. A bunch of other Americans started copying Brian. Okay. And so here we have, first of all, I want to set up, I don't really think John Godin is bad. I just, spaghetti Western fan. Okay, so we have the good, the bad. So John Godina, UCLA model, they started really coming up out of the back, right? The idea, stretch reflex, change dynamic forces. The more you go down, the more you can come up, right? So they're coming up out of the back, down. The idea you can come up even stronger at the finish. Problem with this is, look, he's very behind himself up here at the finish. He's leaning back, very short arm strike, and he doesn't get a very good grounded position up here, okay? He's not very strong up here. And then the ugly. Now, I can pick on Dan because he and I are second cousins. So he and John Smith took this rotational model, and they saw the UCLA model jumping more and more, and they took it even further, okay? And all of these athletes threw very far. They're all very good athletes. But here we see he very much lifts out of the back. He does not get flat around. He goes up, falls in, up, down, up, down. A lot of extra movement in this. Not very efficient at all. Okay. And then something changed. Okay. This is Dylan Armstrong. He brought better technique back. How did Dylan get this technique? Anatoly Bondarchuk was a Ukrainian man, USSR athlete. He was a gold medal hammer throw champion, coached the best hammer throwers in the world. He learned this technique because he coached Baryshnikov. He coached the very first rotational thrower for a few months or a year or so. He wasn't the main coach, but he worked with them, so he knew what the model was. Bondarchuk moved to Canada in the mid-2000s and started training Dylan Bondarchuk and brought that technical model back to North America. Dylan Armstrong goes on to get top 10 in the world, medals, and people start taking notice. Here you see, again, going flat out of the back, keeping the feet on the ground at the finish, coming around on the strike instead of trying to jump up on the feet, okay? A big thing here is watch that right foot in the middle. The right foot, the right leg, it stays bent. Once it lands, it keeps rotating, rotate, rotate, rotate. It never stops rotating ever, and it always keeps the same bend. The only time it changes is once the ball is actually out of the hand, okay? So the world took notice of this. Okay, Dylan Armstrong is a big guy. He's a good thrower. He's always been pretty good, doing well. And then when things really changed was I was in the group, and when I started throwing really far, I threw 46 feet once my junior year, and I threw 46 feet once my senior year in high school. I was not slotted. I was not supposed to be good. My own coach, Bondarchuk, told me maybe 19 meters you can throw. I threw 19 meters. Okay, maybe you can throw 20. Maybe. I hit 20 meters. I kept getting better and better and better and better. As I got better and better and better and was throwing like this, bent legs, flat around the entry, this is when other coaches in the world started changing their models. Okay, they said, okay, Dylan did it, now this guy's doing it, something's working here, something's happening, and everybody else started changing. Okay. Proof. Okay, Sean Pickering, he's a great Britain guy. He gave me all the video following here. Okay, now modern throwers. Okay, Brian Krauser. Now Dane talked about, I know Dane showed my video from Arizona and the right foot on the finish. Look at this right foot here, okay? Right? And that's not, he's not jumping to get his foot off the ground. What's happening here, when you watch video, video can lie, okay? The elite throwers, when you watch them, any of this, anytime you see their bodies coming off the ground at the finish, it's not because they are pushing their body up with their legs. It's because their upper bodies are so strong and so powerful, they are throwing so hard, the shoulder system is literally pulling their body off the ground, okay? So be careful when you watch some of this video, it can lie to you. That little bit of lift there is him pulling himself off the ground. Bent legs, pulling himself up, not pushing from the legs. Okay, here's Tom Walsh. Now he's interesting. He starts a little further over in the circle here, and he gets a really wide entry. But again, moving very flat, legs stay bent. Watch the right foot in the middle, right? It stays bent, never extends. They are coming out forward over the toe board for finish. Okay, here's Sean gave me this video from Chula Vista, the Olympic training site down in San Diego. This is where everybody's not born, but certainly made on the USA team. So this is interesting because this is what Ryan is practicing. Okay, you see what his competition video is like, and this is, you can see what he's practicing. Bent leg, left leg is bent coming out of the back. Left leg is bent in the middle the entire time. Okay. Now he's a little less aggressive on his finish. He's kind of playing it safe because it's a training throw. One thing to keep in mind here is when that right foot lands in the center, it's going to have, the heel's going to be up. The right foot's going to come in from the side, heel up, and it continually stays up. It never collapses. If you collapse that right heel in the middle, and then live too, you come in and that heel comes flat too early, you're going to stop all your momentum. Okay, here's an angle of what he's doing from the back. I like to separate the body in halves, right side and left side. So on the entry, you see how far his right side's coming around his left, up to the finish. Here's a practice video of Tom Walsh. This one comes from a training center, I think Mannheim in Europe. I'd like to see Tom's heel a little flatter, his left heel to front here. You want to push into a flat foot down. Keeping that heel up is setting yourself up for a short strike. It's a good video from the back. Okay, I talk about speed. Speed can be deceptive because it's very easy to move faster. Complete the throw, complete a movement in a shorter amount of time. That doesn't equate to speed. Speed is how far can you move in a given time, right? You have 1 second to complete the movement. How far can you go? How far is Tom Walsh going? All the way down, okay? We watched the video of Dan Taylor, and he was very much falling into the center and having to come over top of himself. That's a short path. Here, you move the right side around the left. That's a very, very long path. You get good at taking long paths and flat paths, and now you're setting up forces that actually go out into the throw. The finish of the throw is not a lift. Nobody is strong enough to lift that ball against gravity to actually go far. And once you're in the final position up here, you don't have control of the ball. You no longer have control. You don't have control when it's in your neck. You're ready for release. And if you push and try and change the angle and lift the ball, you're going to get all kinds of hand injuries. Okay? You're going to miss the hand. It's going to come off early. The only thing you can do when you get to the front is you push flat, you strike flat out. No lifting. You lift, and it's inefficient, and you hurt yourself. Okay, here's some great discus videos. One of the best discus guys in the world right now. Same principles, right? Bent left. Now this bent left out of the back, you don't push off that left per se. What's happening is they're using the inside of that right thigh, and they're pulling themselves in, okay? You pull yourself into that first step. That leg is on final. Back. Okay, this is a great, now this is a very big man. Very, very big. You can really see here how he gets right around left. When his right hits the center, he's pulling his left around the right, okay? I like to think about, you got your circle here, okay? There's your left foot and your right foot. You post up the left and you move the right around the left. And then you get in the middle, you got your right foot's here now. Now you're going to bring your post up the right, and you're going to bring the left around the right to the front of the circle. Now your left foot's up here, and now for the finish, you're going to take your right arm, and it's going to come around your left. 3 concentric half circles, all in the same plane. No up and down. Flat, flat, flat. Right side around left, left around right, right around left. Very, very simple. Okay. Back to the charts. We saw the averages getting better by the best athletes. Okay. In the mid-2000s, people were practicing this. Okay, this is me. This is me in college. I was practicing what those guys are doing in the mid-2000s. When I went to my national meet, I threw a meter further than I ever had before, all because I was thinking about moving faster. I knew I had to get faster to the front to throw further. And when I moved faster, I was moving so fast I didn't have time to set up my right leg, right hip turn, and a lift. It didn't happen. I finished my arms too fast, and when I did that, I automatically shifted to here, right? So I threw really far. I got home. This is before video cell phones. Looked at the tape, and I thought, oh my goodness, Justin, you could have thrown even further if you had set up extension. Okay, that's stupid. Didn't know any better. The averages were low in the mid-2000s because athletes were practicing this and accidentally throwing like this. Now, everyone's practicing this and they're throwing like this. And that's why the averages have come up. Okay. And you see it in the technique, you see it in the results, the data is there. Yeah. Okay, so this is, yeah, the difference between, okay, when you're learning technique, okay, a lot of times you're gonna, have to turn your hip or turn your foot. There's a difference between practicing technique and throwing with technique for understanding how you're supposed to throw, and then actually throwing the way you're supposed to. Okay, so sometimes you're going to be doing drills and technical work that's teaching you how to move, and then you have to go apply it at full speed. And there's a difference in that. These is the flat rotation stuff, the limited leg movement. It's easier to coach. There's less going on. There's less cues for you to think about. Okay, it's just a curve to get there. All right. Second half of the presentation: drills. How do we get there? I don't know anything about this. How do I apply it? Okay. We talk about separating the body, left and right side. The first thing you have to learn how to do is to push your right side instead of pulling it. Okay? A lot of times we like to open the left, dive in, and I'm going to drag this leg as long as I can around. No. The fastest way to get inside, start, left hits 90, and then you push the right side around. Great way to learn that. Sit on one foot. And what he's doing here, this is only the second time I've worked with this athlete. Okay, so it's very, very brand new. 1 foot, and he is connecting hand, shoulder, hip, and leg, and he's pushing from the hip. The hip's the only activator, pushing the hip ahead of his left. Okay, actually moving one side of your body ahead of the other. Now I would like him to be landing a little more upright. Okay, here he's kind of falling over a bit. Now, this is a goof up rep. The second one here. Okay, we're gonna watch his foot. Watch his left foot here. The heel came up. Now watch this. That's a good rep. Okay, on the good rep, the very first one of the clip here, his heel stays down, and he pushes the right until the right pulls the left with him. The bad rep, he lifts the heel before his right pushes, setting up the fall. And you can feel the difference, right? So you flat foot, push the right side around. In your full throw, discus, shot put, the left heel needs to be low, okay? As low to the circle as you can on entry. The heel comes up, you start falling. You force the athlete to maintain a very, very low heel on their entry, and it will help them get this feeling of flat foot, right side around versus lifting the heel and falling in. Okay, so once we understand what moving your right side around looks like, now we have to implement it to the full throw. Now what this athlete's doing here is they're lining up using the shoulders to start the momentum every time. Shoulders are the main motor in the throw. Load up the shoulders, push the side. Load up the shoulders, push the side, and working the incremental steps helps the athlete understand how to engage their body, how to engage the muscles to execute that side push at every point of the throw. Okay, because every little step, something else is happening as they go through. Now you see here, she comes right side around, left side around, left side around, left side around. Okay, always posting up the inside. I'm always moving the outside flat around. Again, this would be an example for understanding, and then I'm going to put a heavy ball or a heavy discus or a dumbbell on the athlete and make them learn it under weight, and then have them go in the circle and try some spins. Okay, so now we did our incremental steps. Next thing here is pushing. We just push right side all the way to the first step. The idea here is, now he's falling over a bit. When the right foot comes down in the middle here, foot, knee, hip, shoulder, shot put all together, all on top of each other. Shot put on the entry, shot put has to get on top of left toe before you can come around. And in the middle, the shot put has to stay on top of the right toe the entire time you're shifting to double support. Only once you hit double support and the shoulders start opening, can that shot put move away from that toe. And here, of course, we're looking for that first step. You come out wide and the right comes in from the side, almost like from 3 o'clock here. That toe should come in from the side, low, with the hip and shoulder already turning. I didn't set this one up for automatic play. Second step. Okay, we just ask the athlete to continue the move. The idea here is we talked about setting up the right side rotating through and the foot coming in at an angle. We're just asking that athlete to continue that movement. Don't stop the right foot turning. The heel stays up the entire time, and needing the shot put to stay on top of that toe until you hit double support, not letting that shot put come forward. Okay, he's falling over a little bit again. You know, this is a very good example of what the beginning of learning would look like. Any questions so far? Oh, I do this way there. Okay, and then full spin throw, you put it all together, give the athlete the implement, and turn them loose.
Justin.
Yeah.
There's one up front here.
Oh.
Would you say it's better to keep your arm bent or straight out while it's in the middle of the throw for balance wise?
The front.
Here?
Yeah, like
In the middle?
is it better to keep it straighter or bent? Because I'm seeing a lot of videos of you haven't been saying as far as balance.
The arm doesn't matter. It's the shoulder. Is the shoulder open or is the shoulder closed? And is the shoulder collapsed or is the shoulder at 90 degrees? Okay. High armpits, I cue my athletes high armpits all the time. And you want that left shoulder. The left shoulder opens on entry, and as it hits the center, you let that left shoulder closes down again until you hit double support. As soon as you hit double support, the shoulder opens again. Key is the shoulder. Key is the shoulder, shoulder, shoulder. Again, video can lie. Don't look at the arm. Look at what the shoulder is doing. Okay, yeah, full spin throw. All right. Vertical broom. Yes, Lucius, you can steal this. This is for all that I know, I invented this about a year and a half ago. Broom drills, right? Well, you've got upper body and lower body, and it's really easy to push the hips independent of the shoulders. That's not how you actually throw. You throw with left side and right side. So what we do here is this stick is tight against the athlete's body, tight against the hip bone and tight against the shoulder in the shot put position, and it forces them to accelerate the right independent of the left. And when you keep the idea is you keep the stick completely vertical, and then this gives the athlete feedback. They can feel it right away as soon as they fall over. Okay? Keeps them upright, keeps the right side independent, and based on what you pick, you can add some resistance up there, right? This was the only thing I could find last night. That was the right length. And again here, the right foot continually turns in the middle, low feet, okay? You see this right side is back on top of the right as the left lands. Okay, this applies to the discus throw, okay? Same concept, but now we're being a little more specific to discus, hand out, and same idea, okay? You'll be amazed, you put your athletes on this, and they will automatically slow down. You have overspeed issues, they're flying around the circle. I call it 100 miles an hour in 100 different directions. You have them do this, and everything comes into alignment, okay? Please, if you share this, if you use this, reference me, give me credit, please, please.
Rodhe Great Drill.
There you go. Yeah, Rodhe Great Drill, there you go. You got a hashtag on that, huh?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Sound's not working. Okay. I'm just going to voice you through this. All right, this is from a clinic I did this summer. And this is talking about how to execute a half spin in the discus using these techniques. Okay, we talk about you find your power stance, and then your half spin is you just spin around, and that's where you go. When you set up the half spin, don't go to the middle of the circle, because from that to the front of the circle is not your power stance. Okay, find your power stance. That's where you half spin from, because your half spin position is your stand throw position, right? You start here, it's your stand throw, you're just facing the wrong direction. The only thing you're gonna do, accelerate the right side, turn the foot, give initial momentum, and then strike the throw. Okay, set up your half spins properly. Here I'm showing the hook grip. If you're learning technique, especially in the discus, don't let the athletes, because when you're learning new stuff, you're going to miss the releases. Have them hook grip the disc. And then it also forces them to use the body, the shoulder to accelerate the discus and not, I'm going to cheat it out there, right? Make them use the body, hook grip, forces better acceleration. Also, we talk about weighted drills, right? It's best to do weighted drills whenever you can. Hook grip allows you to drill with the actual implement and not have risk of hitting somebody, okay?
Justin, like, just holding on to the discus? Is that what you mean by hook grip?
Yeah, you embed the rim of the discus into the first knuckles. Yeah.
You still have to throw it that way?
Yeah, well, drill releases, right?
Yeah.
Drill releases like that. And that if you're learning something new, right? And then that forces them to focus on what they're doing here and get a long release contact on the implement. Once they've mastered the technique, then you can take them, based on the athlete, then you can take them to full releases. But especially if you want them doing stuff like this, going slow and feeling positions and whatnot,
Sure.
It's easier just, grab that. What's his name? Okoye. There's a Great Britain discus thrower, Lawrence Okoye. He threw 67 or 70 meters from a hook grip. Okay, that's because he was a rugby player brought in to track and field for the Olympic year, blah blah blah. He was taking so many reps, he was tearing his finger up and he couldn't practice. So to get reps in, he was taking hook grip throws, and there was a meet where his finger was too busted up, he couldn't actually do it, so he hook grip through A standard. So it's can be a viable format. Let me see if yeah, here we're talking about just the importance of extending that right side all the way around before the left leaves. Okay? Right never stops turning. All right. Okay, special strength stuff. This is one example of special strength. This is, I think, a 25-pound or 30-pound dumbbell for this athlete. And this teaches them to, have a flat rotation. You put that much weight in their hand and they try to go up and down, and it completely crashes their system. They cannot maintain momentum and maintain technical efficiency all the way through the finish. You have to move flat. Your feet have to keep moving. Your heels have to stay up, okay? On the finish, the heel has to come down. You have to have a strong left in order to get that dumbbell out. If you have a weak left, you're going to end up getting chewed up and pushed back by that dumbbell, okay? You can also do this with discus. Put it onto the side, okay? Maybe 10 pounds, 15 pounds for that. You can also do some half spin. I also like dumbbell throws from a 3-step. Okay, here, left, crossover, right, left plant, and that sets up your stand throw final position. 3-step throw would be really great for gliders. Okay. This is not, she's making this look very, very easy. This is not that easy. Okay. Product, please come see us at the table. The wrist supports here, used by 2016 Olympic gold medalists, both of them. It sets up an automatic rack pressure to the wrist. There's nothing like it else on the market. If you don't know about the product, come and try one on, please. Everybody that gets one brand new, they love it. They call me up and they say, hey, I just added 3 feet to my throw because it actually helps that much. The gloves, the shot put gloves, cold, rainy conditions, you can put it on, your hand's not gonna freeze up. If the shot put's slipping out, you can keep training in the weather and it's not gonna hurt your hand. Great for overweight training. If you're gonna throw heavy balls, you use this, it protects your hand. We have all major NCAA institutions are using them, global sales all over the world. If you don't know about it, come and try one on, see what it's about. Lifting straps, we have some of the best, strongest, best functioning lifting straps on the market. super quick on and off the bar. You can come try those out too if you're not familiar with those. Yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to cover. Any other questions?
Justin, for specific strength for the shot and or discus, are you a proponent of putting a bar across the back at all, or a bar in the front? I see dumbbells, maybe some plates. How do you experience that?
Special strength meaning one element separated from the actual throw. The only thing I will do with barbells is straight throws.
Pushes.
Yeah, so either grounded, split stance in the power stance, push, or you can go in and do that. We got time for a story. Dylan Armstrong, the video we watched, he was preparing for the 2008 Olympic Games, and they were in Beijing, China. So for the last 2 weeks before he left, he and Bondarchuk were training at like 2 a.m. in the morning to get on Beijing time. Okay, and where they were doing their evening training session was a park in the middle of like a big housing development. It was kind of mountainous there, so all these houses are up around this flat lowland park. And they would go down there and train at night in the dark. And he had those exercises. He had like 180 pounds in the bar or something. He was just going, right? And this thing's going. And one night, this guy comes out Dylan was a bit of a celebrity in the town. And this guy comes out and his dad is like, "Hey, stop it, I'm trying to sleep. What's going on down there?" Dylan, in a very polite Canadian, says, "Oh, hey, we're just training down here, buddy. Training." He's like, "Oh, is that you, Dylan?" "Yeah, buddy." "All right, right on." And that was it. That was the end of it. They kept training in the night, crashing barbells and dumbbells out there. Your barbell special strength.
That was in Kamloops?
That was in Kamloops, yeah. Dumbbells are great. The front pressing stuff, but don't forget about dumbbells and puds for back stuff, right? Really, really important. Really great for learning double support. Those who work with me in shot put, we're talking about keeping your feet on the ground during the entire throw, extending with your feet on the ground. Backwards releases, keep your feet on the ground. Shoulder creates the force, maintains the force, long reach extension without the feet coming off the ground. Feet can always turn in place. Feet cannot come off the ground. The only time feet come off the ground is if you earn it and create enough force to pull yourself off the ground. Okay, those are great. Doing both sides, those are great to learn. Understanding grounded throwing, right? Pushing the implement instead of exploding against it and hoping for the best. Okay? You own the implement. You move it. Don't ever let the implements beat you. That goes in the weight room too. Don't ever get on the bar and think, okay, whatever. No, you move the load around you. Don't ever let the load beat you. If it's beating you, drop the weight. Nobody's that strong in the throwing world that they need to be lifting that much that is beating them.